Hello and welcome to the Meeple People podcast. I'm Sam.
And I continue to be Jamie.
Today, we're going to be talking about miniatures games. Anything with plastic figures, really.
Pretty much. Be it a board game or maybe occasionally a bit of a war game. Or maybe neither.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Hit the theme tune.
Oh, yeah.
But first, we're going to kick off with some news.
Can't believe it. I think we've got an abundance of news stories today.
We do, so we're going to try and get through them quite quickly.
Yeah.
But we ramble, so who knows what's going to happen, right?
Right, I'll go first if you want.
Go for it.
Okay. First of all, our old friend, Monopoly.
Hey, hey.
Hey, we always love talking about Monopoly. I said Sam
Wouldn't
before,
be the show without it, would it?
No, I said to Sam before we started, it's a bit easy to bash Monopoly. But he said that's the point.
But we do it anyway because it's fun.
But I don't want to seem like a...
We still haven't played a game of Monopoly. We were actually about to yesterday, but played Codenames instead. Oh well.
You did. You did. I watched, and it was all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put that opinion out there. I think Codenames is okay. I don't think it deserved to win the Spiel des Jahres.
But we'll get on to that at a later date. Again.
It's no spyful.
We ramble.
Anyway, yes. A Dutch university.
Go for it.
Students at a Dutch university, anyway, have created the world's largest playable board of Monopoly.
Ooh.
Officially recognised by the Guinness Book of World Records. I'm so good with words today. The board, which is completely to scale, is 900 square metres, so that's almost a quarter acre, about 30 metres on each side. It's constructed in an athletic field. It's made of 804 individual panels, and they can even play the game. Giant dice, huge hotels, and even a live dog as the playing piece, which
okay.
is a bit worrying.
And from this, they gain eternal glory?
They gain eternal glory until someone makes a slightly bigger Monopoly board.
Okay.
To show it could be done, fantastic.
The board's in Dutch, it looks like. That's...
I'm not even going to try and say anything because...
Well, it's Monopoly
news,
isn't it?
Monopoly.
That's what we needed.
There's always Monopoly. And we still haven't found out what the results of the Monopoly pieces what we did last time.
Maybe by next episode, I think.
We should be able to find out.
Who knows? No, it might be episode 6 that we reveal that.
Yeah.
So we're going to need another piece of Monopoly news in between. But for now... Giant board, that's a tick in the box.
That's quite good.
For Monopoly news.
One large step for Monopoly. Right.
Very much so.
Yep. Moving on. Going back actually a little bit what we spoke about last week.
I'm excited about this one.
Sam, you love Quadropolis, yes?
I do. I say love. I've played it like 5 times.
That's not bad.
It's not bad actually, isn't it? I enjoy it. It's very good.
Yeah,
it's Days of Wonder, so
I
suppose I do love it. Yeah.
They do very good things. Well, like so many good things, an expansion is coming out.
Ooh.
Just
now,
last week.
you told me about this, and I rushed to have a look, and then restrained myself because I knew it would be something you'd want to talk about on the show.
I want to talk to you about it. So it's the expansion is called Quadropolis Public Services.
Mm-hmm.
So not sure when it's coming out, but it's going to have 24 new building tiles. It's going to have the maternity ward, a reprocessing plant, the police station. They'll be set up next to the board every turn instead of on the board, apparently.
Okay. So it doesn't have to actually give you any bigger boards or anything.
No, it's little things to set up next to it.
Something else you can take.
Yeah. I quite like this. I played a couple of games with you.
Yeah.
Very much enjoyed it. I wouldn't get it because I know you've got it, and if we want to play a game, I'll just ask you.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to this because it seemed like a very enjoyable game.
No, completely. I really like Quadropolis, and I think anything that can just add to it is better. It's almost got an expansion in the box, in a sense.
What, the
that
beginning,
it's got the classic
advanced game,
and then it's got the expert game. I would say just play the expert game because it's a lot more strategic, and it's just got a few extra things in there. But actually, the base game itself does give you that option of how complex do you want the game to be, and I think just adding more stuff like that would work really well. I'm
excited, yeah.
So 24 building tiles. Yeah, and I take it they've all got a different way of scoring. Looks cool.
So, yeah.
Looks cool.
Yeah, no, it looks quite quite a nice little game.
Bring it on.
Sweet.
Sounds good.
Another one straight off the list. See, we're burning through the news today.
Banging through these news pieces.
Banging through.
I'm going to hit one.
Okay.
One we haven't actually looked at yet, so we just came across it while setting up for this show. Is Lovecraft Letter. So
the inevitable version. I'm sorry, but it's like as we said before. Usually, a first expansion of something, it will probably be H.P. Lovecraft.
Well,
because Cthulhu.
So
mad. I really like.
Actually, this is something that I suppose was inevitable, but I'd never actually thought about it. Obviously, there's every version of Love Letter you can imagine, apart from obviously H.P. Lovecraft. But now there is. Will I be getting it? No. Will I want to play it? Maybe.
I'll see what the cards are like.
No princesses. This is the Cthulhu mythos inspired game. Instead, you're trying to eliminate your rivals and understand the cosmic horrors that exist just outside of our reality. Watch as madness consumes your enemies, or take the initiative and remove them yourself.
So it's going to be Love Letter, but they're probably adding sanity mechanic because it's Lovecraft and
I don't know, I think
Lovecraft and sanity.
To be honest, I would think that they're just going to theme it differently. They're just going to say that that's what you're doing. You're driving people insane by eliminating them.
Probably.
And I don't actually think there will be any more mechanics. Well, we'll see, though. You know, it might actually be different. It looks like it comes in a box that looks like a book. That's nice, I suppose.
I always like games that come in books, and why I should get more of them. The ones Castles of Burgundy. And I can't remember the company that makes them, but they do. The boxes look like books, and it looks pretty cool. So
that is nice. But there we go. Lovecraft Letter. If you're a fan of giving more money to AEG, buy it. If you're a fan of Love Letter, I suppose buy it. If you're a fan of Lovecraft, maybe buy it. But with the whole Lovecraft thing, I don't think they're actually... Not Lovecraft thing. With the whole Love Letter thing, they're not actually putting out different games. They're just putting out different themes. I've got the Adventure Time version because I'm an Adventure Time fan, and the artwork for that version is really good. Mm-hmm. It's exactly the same as the original Love Letter as far as I know. And yeah, I won't be getting this, but but it exists if you want it.
I've just got the original. I think it's absolutely fine.
There is something I came across which I don't know if you know exists.
Okay, go on.
You might though. I don't know.
Come on.
There is the wedding edition of Love Letter.
I do know about the wedding edition. Yeah,
that you can only order in bulk.
Yep.
If you are getting married,
and you have to provide them with a copy of. The wedding certificate.
I suppose you just have to prove that you're actually getting married. And then if you do that, you can just have them as party favours at your wedding, which I think is I'm very sorry if there was a noise there. I kicked the microphone stand.
No, professional. I think it's a really nice idea.
I think it's great. And if I was getting married, I think that's something I'd do as a tabletop gaming fan. You know, if you can give each table a copy of Love Letter that they can just play over the reception or something, I think that's absolutely fantastic.
Then they've hit upon quite a nice new market because Love Letter is a great game. It's really simple, and if you don't play a lot of board games, it's something that might kind of might fire.
And for that kind of thing, if you're buying lots of copies, it's a cheap game as well. You know, a copy of Love Letter is going to be what, £10?
Under a tenner,
exactly. But that's something I think I'd definitely look into in the future.
Absolutely.
If I'm ever in that situation. Next piece of news. We're getting through this.
But barreling through it. Right. Some people might know. For those who don't. I am studying at university I'm a trained actor, and I love role-playing games because I love the improvisation exercises,
storytelling games,
the storytelling idea, because you can just craft that character. Crafting a character out of a set of numbers, which is an acting exercise in itself, be it status or that, and seeing where that takes you, and in crafting a story with other people that isn't necessarily a script. You write your own script. Okay. And it's a cliche, but I really like Shakespeare. Mm-hmm.
We're talking about the actual man, not the board game here.
Not the board game, although I do very much like the worker placement game Shakespeare by Stadia Games.
And I'm sure we'll talk about that in a future show.
I absolutely will. I think it's great fun, but I am a big fan of William Shakespeare. I think he's a genius. His plays, I think he wrote all his plays, or at least mostly he wrote all his plays. I know Henry VI.
Controversial.
Henry VI has now been credited to him and Marlowe. I'm totally okay with that.
But anyway, there's a game coming out that Again, a bit like Love Letter.
It's pretty much exactly like Love Letter in that
Can't seem to stop.
No. It's from it's Kickstarter has gone online from Steve Jackson Games. Who you might know.
Guess what it's gotta be?
It can only be Munchkin. Oh yes, we've got Munchkin Normal. We've got Munchkin. We've got Munchkin Love Letter. Munchkin Loot Letter. It's called. We've got Munchkin Cthulhu. We've got Munchkin Spies. We've got Munchkin Ninjas. We've got Munchkin Marvel now, and now
Munchkin
we have
Adventure Time.
Munchkin Adventure Time. And now we have a Kickstarter for Munchkin Shakespeare.
There's literally pirates, space, cowboys, anything you want. You can get a version of Munchkin to kind of suit your needs and suit the theme that you like. But yeah, Shakespeare Munchkin.
I know how the game is going to work because it is Munchkin, and therefore it will be the exact same thing. I don't know how they're being slightly reticent on what kind of classes.
Is this a standalone box game or is it an expansion for the original?
It is a standalone game. But like all Munchkin, they will have the same backs, so you can just play with each other. You can interconnect them.
Yeah.
It's useless to speculate, but it's going to be Munchkin. How it's going to do it, I'm interested, but I'm not going to buy it. I think Shakespeare as a concept, is really interesting. It's something that's not really explored a great deal, and when it is, it's usually done not well. The only thing I can think of that does it well is Shakespeare, the board game itself.
Which I would argue is... we'll get onto that in a future thing.
Okay.
And actually about that being, is it actually a thing about Shakespeare necessarily?
No,
but
we'll
get onto that.
But
that's...
sorry, I'll give my 2 cents very quickly. I think the theme is quite nice. The idea is you're all Elizabethan theatre managers, and you've got a week to get actors, rehearse a play, build your set, get your costumes sorted out, get favour, hire actors, and the actors are all characters from Shakespeare. So you could have a play that's got Beatrice from Much Ado About Nothing, Lady Macbeth, and King Lear, and I'm sure it'll be a rollicking comedy. I like it. I think it's a good game. It's a game that is a worker placement game that I don't dislike.
Mm-hmm.
The theme I think works. Shakespeare, as a framing device, Shakespeare, I think it works well.
Yeah. But
come on. I'm interested. Go on.
I don't know. No, because we'll ramble too much. We need to get through the news.
Fair enough.
But Munchkin Shakespeare's coming out. It's on Kickstarter right now. If that's the kind of thing you're into. There's just a phone going off in the background there. I don't know if you can hear it.
That's a wonderful ringtone. It's just someone going ring ring. So yeah, if you want to go, it's on Kickstarter. If you're interested, have a look.
I think it's
interested.
£20 if you want a copy of it on Kickstarter.
And just to remind everyone, we are live streaming. I think we're live streaming most of our shows now.
Oh yeah, I think pretty much all of them.
Yep. So if you are interested, hit us up online.
We usually don't really plan these too far in advance. So
it's raw. We like that kind of
check
rawness.
us out on Facebook to get those updates. We're just Meeple People Podcast on Facebook.
And if you want to ask us any questions or anything, just send us an email at meeplepeople.podcast@gmail.com.
Oh, good you can remember it. I can't remember it. Anyway, next news. Is there another news story?
Oh, yeah, there's a couple.
No, I think...
I want to talk very quickly, and I spoke to you about this yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I want everyone else's opinions. It's just been announced that a Princess Bride role-playing game is announced as being made. Now, Princess Bride, you have seen it?
I've seen bits and bobs
of it. Okay.
Yeah.
I think Princess Bride is a great film. Very good film. It's a nice homage to kind of some of the old great swashbuckling films, and also is funny and does its own good things. Mm-hmm. But I don't think a Princess Bride RPG is needed. Now, you did make the point, and of course, money. Of course, money. But the world in which it's set is a very generic fantasy world, and I think, and you could argue, Lord of the Rings is like that. Yeah, that's fine. But Tolkien had a massive, he's got reams and reams of notes. Yeah. And I'd like to see if William Goldman does have notes. If they've used them, fantastic. If they're just going straight from the film,
there's not much there.
There's not much there. And my other point is, so many other role-playing games have taken the premise, the concept, the ideas that The Princess Bride had that very swashbuckling, very light fantasy,
Mm-hmm.
and I've done it so much better. I mean, obviously the first one comes to mind, something like D&D,
Yep.
very simply, or even something like Seventh Sea.
Yep.
Seventh Sea, which is just quite simply, the role-playing game. And honestly, it is swashbuckling fun. I'm not.
No, but I really think this is... So it was a Kickstarter?
I don't believe so.
Oh, wow. No, I think it is just one of those things that is going to appeal to fans, and fans are going to go crazy for because, it's a game based on my favourite thing. Like, prime example of this was the Labyrinth board game, which we mentioned in our first show as being just what not to do with a game.
It's not fun.
So it was sold on the back of the IP.
Completely.
And from what I know, it sold amazingly well.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of...
There was a lot of hype around it.
There's a hell of a lot of hype. I mean, obviously, it was primarily because it was Labyrinth.
And a lot of people bought it based on that IP. And this is what I suppose the Princess Bride's doing. It's just saying, look, here's something you love. We put it into a game. Buy our stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It's Toy Vault is the company. Coming in 2017, so here's a press release. Coming in 2017, explore the world of the Princess Bride with our new role-playing game. Fezzik, Inigo, Wesley and Buttercup are coming to your tabletop this year. The Princess Bride RPG is designed by Stefan O'Sullivan, the designer of classic RPG titles such as GURPS Swashbucklers, GURPS Bunnies and Burrows, and of course, Fudge. The Princess Bride RPG is using Stefan's Fudge system. Fudge is a great light RPG engine that provides just the right feel of light-hearted, fantastic adventure that embodies the Princess Bride universe.
Cool.
Now,
So it's
couple of things very quickly. First of all, I have wanted to play GURPS Bunnies and Burrows for a long time. Do you know about it?
I don't.
You play as rabbits.
Cool.
Quite simply, you play as rabbits. There's a couple of specialities,
The whole
but you're
GURPS
rabbits.
thing
Yes.
is very simple role playing, right?
Very-
It's a very intro to role playing.
GURPS stands for, again, I might get this wrong, so if I do, I apologise. Generic Universe Role Playing System.
Yeah.
So you can just fit it to anything.
It's like a build your own thing,
Yes.
very simple.
Some people
almost like the Fate system, like here's a rule set, but you can do what you want with it.
Yeah, it's
And I
it's sometimes called spreadsheets the game.
Yeah.
Because you're rolling on one thing and the other, another table. But
And I suppose this is why this design has done this, because it is just something that they've just fitted that system into this world. It might not be a very big world, but they've just taken that system, put it onto here, and it's actually been a very simple process. Maybe,
Yeah.
like it hasn't actually required that much work. Again, I don't know if this is true. Don't
But
hate me.
The whole thing is we're just offering our opinions, and you can say we're talking bollocks or not. The idea is fine. They did a Serenity and a Firefly role playing game. I quite enjoyed the Serenity one. I think they'd managed to create a massive world for that, and there was an idea that things were going on outside. Whereas I wasn't really a huge, I wasn't kind of going, what's going on outside? Oh yes, the Dread Pirate Roberts, but apart from that, it seems to suggest they reference so many real world things, like the fact that Vizzini is a Sicilian. Mm-hmm. Okay, and land wars in Asia and stuff like that, or iocane powder from Australia. Fine, that's fine. Throwing that in, I'm just like, okay. It's kind of confusing. Where does this fit? But then again, there's no point in...
Well, maybe we'll see when it comes
Maybe we'll
out,
see.
2017, if
Yeah.
we keep track on it and, see when it comes out. It's probably not anything either of us are going to buy.
No, but it's just keep an eye on.
And and we'll see if we are proven right, and is it just going to be another Labyrinth thing where actually it's being sold on the IP. The game isn't actually anything special, but it's, inverted comma, made for the fans, even though if you're a fan of Labyrinth, do not buy that board game.
No, although the reason I'm talking about Labyrinth is, very quickly, and it ties into our theme for today,
Miniatures.
there's an expansion coming out. Oh, yes. An expansion called Goblins!
In case
Exclamation
you weren't
mark.
disappointed enough the first time.
Goblins! Exclamation mark. Now, Goblins! Exclamation mark contains 5 goblin miniatures. The goblins will attempt to stop you from saving your baby brother. As far as I'm aware, they're running about the board with you and messing up your plans.
Now, do you think this actually might fix the game? In a weird way, do you think this might make it better? Having extra... Because that's what the game needed. It needed extra mechanics. It
Yes.
needed extra things for you to do.
Yeah.
So do you think this is it? Breaking news, it's snowing.
Is it? Oh my goodness, it's snowing outside.
Anyway, carry on.
Look, I've Perceptive item. We've got someone in the chat just who does not like the Labyrinth board game at all, whose every answer is no. Do you know what? In a weird way, I think it might go some way to start fixing it. But I think...
I mean, I'm pretty sure I could definitely, in half an hour, write a better game
potentially
based on Labyrinth, having only seen half the film.
First half or second half?
First half.
Fair enough. But I don't know. Okay, let me put it this way. I'm not jumping out to buy it. I'm not jumping out to buy this one.
Right, so the thing that struck me about this game, and it was mentioned on a forum that I saw, was this game was sold with a little window for the miniatures.
Yeah.
So straight away, they're showing, look at the pretty miniatures that come in this game, which actually aren't that pretty anyway.
It was a bit of a bait and switch.
No, exactly. And it says this box contains 5 collectible miniatures. So it's selling them as collectibles, and the game had... The core set, I suppose that's what we're going to call it now. There's
core box.
Came with an advert for the Goblins.
Did it? I never saw it.
Expansion. And it says, pre-order now to get the 5 collectible miniatures. So they're not selling it on the fact of the game. They're selling it on these figurines, which, is that just an indicator that actually they know it's not a good game? I don't know.
I know. We've got a comment from Isa saying, I love Labyrinth, but no expansion is going to fix it. It needs a completely new game format. I'd be tempted. I'd be inclined to agree in certain things. And the first thing, I think, just have more of the fact that it's a labyrinth.
No, completely. That's the thing that's missing.
Because it's just going around the outside, and we're not going to harp on this again because we've done this to death. But you're going all around the outside of the board. And then at one point, the last 10 cards, one of them is, you can go into the center now. Can we have more of a labyrinth feel to it instead of just going round and round the outside? Yes, it feels like you're going nowhere. Yes, in some ways, if you look at it, it does do that quite well. But have more of a labyrinthy feel to it. And people are, I've seen people defending it going, it has got a deep layer of strategy, picking up people, carrying people so you can get assistance. Fine. But I think it needs more strategy than Talisman Light.
No, completely. Well,
again,
Riverhorse Games say they're coming out with an expansion later this year. They're not. They're coming out with a pack of 5 figures that has something they call a game in it. That's the news.
Yeah.
On to the main bit of the show.
On the main miniatures. Okay. So the first thing we're going to talk about... Actually, I was about to say it's one of the more recent ones, but in a way it is. In a way, it really, really isn't. Quite prevalent today. Don't talk a bit about Blood Bowl.
Blood Bowl, yeah. So I'm excited about this.
Yes.
So
the reason it's prevalent today is our local gaming cafe is starting a Blood Bowl league today.
And we've submitted our teams. Very excited.
What are you playing, Sam? What's your team?
My team are Skaven.
And I'm playing Orc team.
And I'm really looking forward to it. So I think both of us really have never played much Blood Bowl. We're getting into it.
I've played it. My backstory is I've played it once before. I can't remember when. I was about just my early teens. My friend, I went round to my friends, and he had a copy of Blood Bowl, and he said, "I'll teach you how to play." Mm-hmm. God, I'm like Donald Trump at a debate. Sorry, I've got a very sniffy nose. I learned to play it, and of course, it boiled down to you doing that. Well, I wouldn't do that. He then proceeded to wipe the floor with me. Kind of half explain the rules, but not really in a welcoming way. And I just felt
that's the way I find a lot of those style games. If it's miniatures games, if it's competitive card games and stuff like that. If it's 1-on-1 and someone's teaching you, it's someone who knows the game.
So I was put off Blood Bowl for a long time. I bought the video game because I quite enjoyed. I still like the idea of it.
Which version of that is that?
I bought the original Legendary Edition, which was I didn't know what I was doing at first. I was like, but he fell over. Why does that? And I'm rolling the dice. But why am I going down? Well, I don't get this. And then I heard that GW was putting it out again. Finally.
Which is fantastic.
It was great.
So I got into Blood Bowl when Blood Bowl 2 came out, a couple months after that, I bought it in the Steam sale and really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And then GW put out the game late last year, and I knew a league was going to happen locally, and I'm really looking forward to it.
So yeah, it's a bit of background. So the first edition of Blood Bowl was released in 1986.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one was 1986. The second edition was 1988. So the first one was kind of slightly more battlefieldy, like kind of a lot of other GW stuff, and it's moving towards a game.
Yep.
Third edition was in 1994, which was kind of the last time it was kind of produced in a big box set.
Yeah.
And I think that's the one that I've played previously. There was a fourth edition that was brought out and a kind of living rule book. Oh, sorry, that was... Yes. There was a fourth edition rule book that was brought out online. There was an updated living rule book. It went underground for quite a while. And that's 2001. So 1994, 2001 was...
Mm-hmm. And now are we the...
With a fifth edition. And, this is a game that's been kind of almost been underground for about 13 years, is that? Yeah.
Well, I think the point is, though, it's
been about 13, 14 years, or 12, 13 years.
People have kept playing it and wanting it, and now actually with the new CEO, and they're putting out the specialist games, they call them, although wouldn't you argue that everything they do is a specialist game?
Yeah, but no, but their specialist games was in the world, because traditionally it was Fantasy, 40k on now Age of Sigmar, 40k, Lord of the Rings / The Hobbit, and they've got the specialist games, which are smaller ones, so things like Necromunda and Moortime, which both now have got new leases of life in video games, which is quite encouraging to see, and Man of War as well, which laid the ground for Battlefleet Gothic, which again has its own video game now.
And no, I think that it's just, I'm really looking forward to it. I've played one game with you.
I think did we play a half a game?
We played a half.
We played a half. We were both quite busy.
But it was great.
Yeah.
And, warming up for this league, I'm playing a lot of Blood Bowl 2 on my computer, playing Skaven, knowing what I can do. I've got my build on the computer. I'm running a Rat Ogre, 4 Gutter Runners, and then I think it's 2 Blitzers, a Thrower, and some Linesmen. And
Sam,
it was good fun.
Sam, you need to tell everyone what your team name is,
My
because
team
it is amazing.
Bohemian Rhapsody. Came up with that earlier. No one's got a name yet.
Amazing.
What's your team name? Your Orcs. This is interesting.
I'm playing Orcs. I'm playing, deviating slightly from what most people suggest as you're starting. I've got 3 Black Orc blockers, 3 Blitzers, 2 Throwers, and filling out the rest with Linemen.
Okay.
And my team's name is Wartic Thistle.
Mm-hmm.
Because, one of the teams in Glasgow it's okay to support and not get beaten up for. But also, just a bit of fun. I can't wait for this. I might be heading down later today. Cool. Playing a little one. The draft day was today. We need to get our teams in. So, Sam, you got your team in. I've got mine in. And we have to play 3 games before...
My guys arrive next week. I've ordered the miniatures. They're coming.
They're coming, but
they're coming.
They'll be here. That's cool.
And then I've got to paint and build and paint them. And
it's all right. I've only undercutted mine, just put numbers on the bases. But it's I'm finally enjoying Blood Bowl, which I'm really happy to say. And it's a game that's entirely about it's all about just pushing that little bit of risk.
Yeah, and what I really like about it, and we're talking about miniatures games today, and actually, this is the thing: would you call Blood Bowl a miniatures game?
Yes.
Or is it a board game? Because it's tile based. It's not a standard. I suppose the difference here is it a miniature game or is it a war game? And obviously it's not a war game. Everything else, most things that GW do are war games. Grand Battle. But actually, you could put out a board game that was Blood Bowl and it was just 2 teams. And actually that's not.
Initially, that's what they did. It was a little cardboard
thing. And I want to kind of raise the question because it includes miniatures.
Just because it includes miniatures, is it a miniatures game? My initial thing would be yes.
Because I would argue that Blood Bowl is a board game. That is what I'm putting to you, sir. You play it on a board. That's not all.
No, I know. What are your thoughts? If you're on the live stream or if you want to send us any messages, please tell us what you think. I'm going to say I think it could be a board game. It could be a board. It is a board game because you're playing it on a board.
It crosses that line.
But yeah,
it's on the fence.
It dances
and
across
this is
the
actually
line.
something I really enjoy about it, is the fact I wouldn't class myself as a war gamer or a miniatures game player. In
Not
any
particularly,
sense,
no.
I play board games.
Yeah.
I have a board game collection. I don't really play miniatures games. The one miniatures game that I'd say the two that I do play, that would be X-Wing, and I've got bits and bobs for Infinity.
I would also argue you also play Imperial Assault, so I would...
But I would not say that is a miniatures game.
But is not the whole point that you have the board? Yes, but you can buy miniatures packs.
Would you call Descent a miniatures game?
I've never played Descent, so I don't
It's
know.
the same game,
Okay,
just themed.
that's okay. No, that's fine. That's fine.
Imperial Assault is essentially Descent 3rd edition.
Okay.
They took 2nd edition Descent, fixed a few bits and bobs, and gave it a Star Wars theme. They're very open about that. When they announced it, they said, this is built off of the Descent rules. But yeah, I think that's what I want to discuss today a lot of the time, is actually where does the boundary lie between a miniatures game? Just because it includes miniatures and figurines and stuff, does that make it a miniatures game? Actually, those are just playing pieces. And actually, if we set up 5 tribes, but actually didn't have meeples, we had very fine cast miniatures for all of the different tribes, would that cross over into a miniatures game, or would that stay a board game? Because that would have a load of miniatures.
I don't know.
If we had Small World, there you go, Small
Yeah.
World. Instead of tokens, you had figures
had
for
troops.
each of your guys. Does that then cross over into being
Yeah, does it
being a miniatures game? Because again, it's area control.
Yeah.
You're actually fighting each other at that point.
I don't know. I think a lot of these, yeah. Would it make it better? Possibly, yeah. But then again, you're ramping up production costs. I think a lot.
But would it make it a miniatures game? Not would it make it better?
I don't know.
Would it make it a miniatures
Yeah.
game? Because again, you're still on a board. At that point, I think it would be just as much of a miniatures game as Blood Bowl is.
Okay, no, that's fair enough. Yeah, I'm totally cool with that. Yep, I'll agree. Is that okay?
Yes.
So yes. So yeah.
I don't know where I went there.
No, but
just went
yeah,
off
it's
on a
it's
tangent.
it's all right. That's what we do. It's part and parcel. It's the fact that a lot of these games that we might think of as miniatures games are dancing the line between miniatures and board games, which is not a bad thing.
No, and that's, to be honest, what I'd prefer in a game.
Although X-Wing is a notable example of like an exception. So
Yeah, and we'll get onto that now.
yeah, I'm just going to say is Blood Bowl. I enjoy it. I'm now enjoying it. Can't wait. And
I can't wait for the league.
we'll let you know how Wartic Thistle and Bohemian Rhapsody go on. And
they're going to be great.
They're going to be great.
And there's like 20 people in this league.
There's a huge league, yeah. And the best, and I'm loving the team names. We've got one guy who's playing dwarves, who've got the Iron Bruisers, which I like, with an orange and blue kit. And one of the other guys, another guy which in our league, is playing a Nurgle team.
Which I looked at the stats and I'm terrified of.
Oh, Nurgle is terrifying. Nurgle is terrifying. But no, what we like about them is their name. Because he's called them the Brexiteers, and they're named all after
Just members of the
politicians.
Conservative Party.
yeah, pretty much. And, well, no, not just the Conservative Party, because you've also got, well, when he gets the Beast of Nurgle, he's calling it Nigel. Oh, I love it. So, yes, right, Blood Bowl. Very good fun. Love the risks involved. And I've never won a game. I've drawn and I've lost, but I've loved that just as much. So yeah, that's what I have to say about Blood Bowl.
So we're moving on now to Star Wars.
I'm into Star Wars, loving them Star Wars.
I think actually me and you as miniatures gamers, if we're talking about us as miniatures gamers, I wouldn't class myself in that field, in that
Not
circle.
particularly. I have played when I was a bit younger. I played a bit of fantasy and a bit of 40k. And
I've collected a few Skaven things over the years and painted them up, but I've never actually played the game. I liked the Skaven models.
And I never kind of pushed a lot of things. So it just kind of faded away from me. And I've got it. We're not going to talk a great deal about fantasy and 40. We're not going to talk about Warhammer stuff, apart from Blood Bowl.
Purely because we don't really think we're qualified to.
No, exactly.
We don't play those games, and we've got opinions on them, and we've got opinions on, the Games Workshop model and that kind of whole marketing strategy and the way of selling those games and playing those games, but really it's not what we do.
No. And we can, we're not saying they're bad. They speak for themselves. You know, they've got their own things.
Yeah, and we might talk about it later in the future.
Yeah, we might have a contributor or two coming on, and we
Yeah,
might talk to them
that'd be
about it. You know, so this is just a little heads up in case people go, "What about fantasy? What about 40K?" That's what we're kind of talking
We'll
about.
get to it in the future, but
Yes.
at the moment we don't think we're qualified to talk about it too much. And really, we just don't want to say anything that is wrong because I know that we don't know too much about it.
No.
And
I know a bit of lore. I have to say I do enjoy the lore of 40K. I think it's great. Just, however, you know, so much is in change right now with the Gathering Storm. I don't want to put out opinions that are a bit wrong.
yeah, what I like in a miniatures game, though, if I'm looking for a miniatures game, and this is why Infinity appealed to me actually, and I'm kind of liking Blood Bowl as well, to be honest, is it's a low miniatures count.
Yes.
And nothing satisfies that more than the main miniatures game I play. I know there's a lot of war gamers or miniatures gamers out there who actually say that this isn't a miniatures game, or they shouldn't class it as a miniatures game for whatever reason. I think people might get a bit salty about it.
What, X-Wing?
But X-Wing and Attack Wing, I think there's a lot of people out there who don't like the fact that they're in there. Maybe it's because, you know...
is it the IP?
I don't know if it is the IP. I think it's actually just the style of play. You know, it's not... You know, I think it might be custom dice as opposed to lots of, you know, polyhedral dice. Or it might be movement templates as opposed to, you know, rolling for movement or using tape measures and going in inches and stuff.
Yeah.
And the big thing there is pre-built, pre-painted.
Yes.
But as a board gamer and someone who loves games, the hobby aspect of it is all right to me. I'm looking forward to building and painting my Blood Bowl team.
Yeah.
But actually, what I really want to do is open a game and I want to play that game.
Straight out of the box.
And X-Wing satisfies that need. I know that when a new wave gets released, I can go to the shop, buy them, and within half an hour, I'll be playing with those ships, and they look great on the table.
Yeah. But I think... See, we're talking about X-Wing, but I think we can also like kind of sidle into a little bit into Star Trek Attack Wing.
No, completely.
Because they're
these
both
combined.
because they both use the flight path.
Because
system.
they're the same game, essentially.
Yeah, no, essentially, I agree. They're essentially. I think because it was initially based off a system that was created for World War One, I believe, dogfighting.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it works quite well for X-Wing because a lot of the point of Star Wars is that small. You know, you look at Lucas's, what's the word I'm looking for? The things that Lucas drew inspiration. Thank you, from World War One dogfighting and so it works for that. It suits Star Wars, suits the X-Wing style. A lot of people don't like the fact it's moved to Attack Wing, or don't like to move to Attack Wing because it's not smaller ships; it's capital ships that are fighting. Now there are fighters in Attack Wing, but I've got a beef with them, and I'm not going to go into that here. I can't remember.
No, and I think actually, had Armada been out,
yep.
Would WizKids have gone for that license?
Do you know what?
Wanted to use that system because it's based on capital ships.
You know what? That might actually have been, that might have actually been something they probably would have gone for that more. Yeah.
Anyway, so today we're talking about new stuff in the game. New stuff,
yes.
New stuff in both games.
Yeah.
So because some new waves have come out or been announced, X-Wing, the latest wave, just been released.
Wave.
So the game was released in September 2012. Mm-hmm. We are now 4.5 years on from release, and Wave 10 has just been released.
Okay, Wave 10
to the public. Now, Star Trek Attack Wing was released almost exactly a year after X-Wing. So we're talking 3.5 years ago. And
Wave 30 has just been announced,
which is mental.
Now, fair play to WizKids.
For making that money.
Making that sweet, sweet money. They have the molds, and we've talked about this in the first podcast. They've got the molds from Star Trek HeroClix game. They were able to fire a lot of that stuff out, get some new ones. They have been improving on the mold quality and the painting quality, but it needs a way to go.
Yeah, just looking at this picture from the announcement post, that looks really nice.
It is a nice little picture, which is of the a Miranda class, for those of you who know, the USS Reliant. Now, Star Trek Wave 30 has been announced. What they've been doing recently is, and again, talk about it, the repaints. This is the first time I think I've seen, possibly, that they usually release 3 ships in a wave, and all of them, this wave, are repaints. Stuff from very early on, which is the USS Reliant, which comes complete with Khan Noonien Singh, the IKS Koraga for the Klingons, and the IRW Valdor for the Romulans, which was from Star Trek Nemesis. I understand why you want those why people want those repaints. And we are on wave 30, so you could argue maybe things, they're drying up a little bit of ideas. Just repaints. Just.
Do you think it's the speed of their release schedules?
It's possible. Yeah. It's even the fact that I don't really think Britain's getting it very much anymore. If anyone knows of any British places that still stock or getting new attack wing stock in, please, can you let me know? Because I'm interested.
Oh, there was a little notification there. Didn't mean that.
Oh, so
whereas with X-Wing,
you've been releasing it a couple of. Where's good? Sorry,
you get 2 or 3 waves a year.
Fantasy Flight, says, it's going to be released now, and everyone goes, okay, give it 6 months.
Pretty much.
But only now. Am I right in thinking only now you guys are able to go backwards?
Yes, we've just got a ship that goes backwards.
What? How fast does it go backwards? Is it one reverse? One reverse.
One reverse. It's good. It's interesting. It's fun. But then it's different games,
No, I know it is.
This is something that's never happened in X-Wing before, so it actually does change it up a bit.
Yeah.
But if it's only one ship, and that ship is a very situational ship if you're going to actually use it. It's the quad jumper for
Scum.
For Scum. So the modification for it that you'd usually put on it, if you're running that ship, is the space tug. So that's its kind of use in that world. Is that it's a little tow truck, really, and it goes backwards because it's used to move people around and to dock people into places, and that's nice and thematic. I'm not trying to be smug, just to clarify here.
Although there was part of me kind of in my head when I heard about this, going, well, we've had this since Wave 1, the Enterprise and the Khazara, which is the warbird in the core set, can pull reverses. And that's not me going, well, we've been having it for a while. It's just something interesting seeing, going, you can pull reverse.
Okay,
really
here's the difference.
Go.
Attack Wing, we've just discussed this, should not be a dogfighting game.
No, it shouldn't.
And X-Wing is a dogfighting game. That's why things can't go backwards. They're going really fast.
I know.
They're tiny.
Yeah, fine. I'm not disagreeing with you, man. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying it's interesting.
That's what I'm saying. That's kind of, I suppose, why that's just kind of coming into the game, really.
Yeah.
And actually, I don't think it's something that many ships are going to be able to do. We've only got that because it's, going to be a space tug. It's a small little thing that just poodles around space doing its own little thing.
As I say, if WizKids did to release a version of basically Star Trek version of Armada, I'd be hell up for that. I haven't played Armada. Is it good?
It's absolutely brilliant. It's just really expensive.
But
I'd be so good.
I'd be up for that. I'd love to see how that works.
It's a fantastic game.
Cool.
The new stuff for X-Wing got released. All new ships, I'd like to point out, Jamie. No repaints here.
Shut your face.
Wave 10 was just stuff from films, really. So we got the U-Wing and TIE Striker from Rogue One.
I thought the U-Wing is one of my favourite things about Rogue One.
It's a very nice ship.
It looks cool.
And the model
I like the little gunship.
Absolutely great.
The model's cute.
We got Sabine's TIE Fighter for the Rebels.
Okay.
From Star Wars Rebels.
Okay.
A Rebel TIE Fighter, getting in there, mixing it up. One nice little thing, kind of, its its main feature, the thing it kind of does, or kind of its selling point is. So you can attach something to it called Stolen TIE Fighter, because that's what it's meant to be. The Rebels have stolen TIE Fighter. So the one it actually comes with is a very crazy repaint. Yeah, it's yellow and orange, and it's bright colours, and it's really nice. But the idea, I think, for the stolen TIE, you'd run a normal TIE Fighter model on the stand, and if people have, I think it's pilot skill lower than you, basically, they can't shoot you until you're the last ship on the board or until you fire at them.
Okay.
So you're just flying around and the Empire's just like, oh, he's just one of us.
So just to clarify, so other ships with a lower pilot skill can't attack you unless you attack first. Is that all ships?
As soon as you shoot, everyone can shoot you.
Everyone can shoot. Okay, that's what I just wanted to clarify. Cool.
It's quite interesting.
That's a
give
nice
it a go.
That's a nice little.
I'm looking forward to it.
Nice little tactical option you can use.
I think it could be good. And then we had Kylo Ren's shuttle, which is basically Batman in the game. It looks good. It's a good model. And then the quad jumper, which I absolutely love. They're like little space potatoes. I like it a lot.
That's cool. I like that.
And that's X-Wing, really, yeah. And just going back to why I kind of like that game, it's play out of the box and that low miniature count, a whole 100 points. It's going to be about 3 ships, really. Fair enough, you can go as much as 8 TIE fighters, or you can even go as you can just kit out a ghost. It's fair enough, it's not strategically good for you to do that. But
the option is there.
But you can just run a single ghost.
I played.
But really, it's going to be 3 ships, and I like that small miniature count.
Same with the Darkwing. Yeah, you got again, small miniature count. Similar kind of, I don't know, 0.5 might be similar. You might have you got more customization, I would argue, with Attack Wing, just simply because crew, weapon, captain, tech, elite talents.
The captain's the only thing that is different from, because you get a base ship, don't you?
Yeah.
And then you attach captains to it.
Yeah, you get a base, you get a generic ship.
Yeah.
So you can get for example, simple one, generic Galaxy class ship, and then you get the USS Enterprise D.
Yeah.
The Enterprise has its own ability. It's got slightly better tech.
And
then you get captains.
Yeah. Whereas in X-Wing, you get four named pilots and 2 unnamed, or
again,
2 named pilots.
Again,
and 2 unnamed
that's
pilots.
the difference in the style, and that's cool. I like how both of them work. But I did play once a couple of times actually, a huge game. One of the guys brought one of the huge Borg cubes.
Yeah.
And I might have said this before.
I was there for it. It was good.
And we brought 12 or 13 ships, about that, and stuck them around the board. Outfitted a couple of them, which I realised in hindsight was a bad idea. Just load them up with just generic ships, get more ships, for that, and then you can just get more firepower.
Dice on the table. That's all it's about.
Dice on the table, and it was fun up to a point, and I just kept going. But I got to a point where I wasn't enjoying it. I was like, okay, moving ships. But again, that's why I was like, I'll do it very occasionally, and I like the smaller.
Now X-Wing does have that in there for the people who like the higher model count and the lengthy games, and that is Epic Play.
So the one with the giant ships.
Yeah, you can play with the giant ships if you want, but the idea of Epic Play is it goes from 100 points to 300 points. That's the only difference. Okay. You're allowed those giant ships if you want them, but they're not essential to the format.
That's cool.
And the most I've played in Epic Play, I think I've had 15 ships on the board, just my side, and that.
I'm guessing it took a long time.
They do take a long time, and the annoying thing is each turn just takes a long time. Fair enough, the game does take a long time, but it's just the fact that simply movement just takes so long. The one thing I do like about it is it gives you the chance to run things you wouldn't normally do, like a squadron of 5 A-Wings with a squadron of 4 X-Wings or something.
Nice.
In Epic Play, you can do, and you can fly around and you can give that a go. Whereas in a normal 100-point battle, you can't do that.
I did, yeah. I do remember seeing a mate saying, who'd got Armada, saying, "Oh, it'd be really cool, you get your ships, your little fighters flying together, and then you do it in X-Wing." And I was like, no. It'll take far too long.
It also, I'd like to point out, doesn't work for the rule set.
Oh, does it not?
It does not work. No, that's not how that happens.
So there you go. If anyone is thinking of that, afraid to say it won't work.
It'd be cool, and I'm sure you could.
You could adapt it.
Hack the rules to make that work. But anyway, we're going to move on. We're going to stay on Star Wars.
Okay.
And we're going to talk about something we've mentioned
a lot
a minute ago. Is Imperial Assault. You know, is it a miniatures game? Is it a board game? They definitely do put out regular expansions and miniatures packs, and they do sell it on the whole.
It's a
miniatures.
These high quality miniatures,
and they do categorize it as a miniatures game. So there's two things you can do with Imperial Assault. You can do the campaign mode, where if you want to do that, it's really just buying the box sets that come out with extra missions and stuff.
Yeah.
But really what they're pushing with these new expansion packs, and we've just had a couple more announced for the game.
This is where the news starts bleeding in.
Is the skirmish play. And that is where it becomes a miniatures game, essentially, where you build, might be 100 points, 200 points, I'm not too sure, of figures and guys, and you build your list, and you bring that to the table. And it's all objective-based, which I really like in a game, in a miniatures game. Yeah. One thing that I'm not keen on with X-Wing, actually, and I hope they change, and coming from the campaign that they've just released for Armada, I'm hoping they do release an objective-based campaign for X-Wing, and a lot more objective-based missions for it.
I mean, and this is one thing I think that's not one thing, but there's something that Attack Wing has over X-Wing in that regard, is that with every Attack Wing expansion you get, or sold expansion, you get a mission card, and it's usually an episode from the TV show that the thing's based upon.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
And that is, it's not always beat the crap out of the other person. It is, there's one that I've got for one of the Vulcan ships, which is, it's a prisoner rescue. So you can set up this amount of points of the enemy that can't take this amount of these kind of ships. You guys have to take this amount of points. You need to have this, this, and this in it. And here are the extra rules. Here's how you set up the table. And I like that idea. It's good. It's kind of fun, and it isn't just beat the crap out of everyone.
Now Armada has to be objective based. You bring an objective to the game. It isn't just kill the other opponent.
Good.
You get victory points for doing certain things. In X-Wing, it used to be that the boxed ships, the small ones in the blister packs didn't come with a mission, but the ones in the cardboard boxes, so
the big ones,
the larger ships, came with missions.
Okay.
Now lately, Kylo Ren's shuttle was the one from Wave 10 that came in a box, didn't come with a mission.
Okay.
I was talking to someone, and the idea that kind of came up is, why give it away free if we can sell it? And basically, what we're expecting is, are they just putting together a book of missions and objective-based stuff for you to use? If that's so, I would actually buy it, though, because that's what I prefer in a game. What I like about Infinity is you're playing an objective. What I liked about Armada is you're playing to an objective. X-Wings just become this
what you like about Blood Bowl is you're playing to an objective, which is score touchdowns and beat the crap out of everyone else.
No, exactly. If it was just kill everyone, to me that's not as fun. And at the moment, that's what X-Wing is. I think I'm definitely in the camp that wants that objective-led, whether it's a campaign or whether it's just single missions. I want more of that, and I want a point to playing. I want to know, why are we fighting? We're just, fair enough, we're fighting to the death or whatever, but why are we doing it? Is there something we're fighting over?
I have just thought of something. Now, it might not work. Again, if it doesn't work, fine. But you combine Imperial Assault with X-Wing.
Yes.
And you put some objectives in. Now, the most simple one I can think of is like you're having some kind of planetary, like the rebels are having a planetary invasion. Okay, so say, for example, you have an X-Wing board with 2 X-Wings and a U-Wing, which contains a squad of, Rebel troopers. Or Rebel Rangers. It could be part of a campaign, whereas you need to play X-Wing to get your guys safely to the drop-off point. You are dropped off and then complete. Do you kind of see what I'm getting?
No, completely. And actually, this ties in. A couple months ago, up on the FFG website, a guy did a guest blog. I don't remember his name or anything, but he talked about how he's tying in things like Imperial Assault, things like X-Wing, maybe even Armada, I'm not too sure, with his Age of Rebellion RPG campaign. So, obviously, you're playing a band of rebel troopers, and, you're flying around, as a band of rebel troopers. You might fly around in a Falcon, a YT-1300, as your kind of...
As your transport.
Your squadron's transport, yeah. And, you're out and about, you're just having some downtime on the ship, might be leveling up or something just in between games, and then all of a sudden you're attacked by a squadron of TIE fighters,
Yeah.
and then we play an X-Wing game. And I think he's balanced it so that actually they're likely to win, or if that ship or if their ship does get blown up, it doesn't blow up, it might crash on a planet or something like that. But it's building all those games together, and that's what I really like. That's a great idea.
I think it's crying out for it because Fantasy Flight just has all these disparate things, and the fact that people are now coming together and going, "Oh, we could do that,"
and even if it is
fantastic.
Just not necessarily using Imperial Assault as that rule set, but actually just using it as here's a map with your guys on it, and using it in a very.
But that's always the thing with miniatures games.
No, completely. But actually, they've.
Which is just going right. You have these miniatures. Okay, can I borrow them for playing a Star Wars game? Mm-hmm. Can we just can we just use them as miniatures? Absolutely fantastic.
But no, that's really exciting that people are doing that, and I think that's
great.
Absolutely fantastic. But anyway, so the new things that have come out for Imperial Assault, and these are very much focused on the skirmish side of things. So the idea is, you've got a map down on the board and you play over a mission. It's still all tile-based, but is it a miniatures game? I suppose it is.
I would argue it is a miniatures because I'd make the case that it is a miniatures game because yes, it is set on a board, but the whole point is you're playing and it's objective based. But you've got miniatures, and the miniatures have special abilities. And you could use pieces of card with them on it, but I don't think it'd be it'd be as good a game if it was just pieces of card. So my point is, yes, I think Imperial Assault, rock solid miniatures game.
Yeah, and so we've got 3 packs. The first one we're going to talk about is the Rebel pack, which is Hera Syndulla and Chopper from the Rebels TV show. I really would recommend that show to anyone who likes Star Wars.
I haven't seen it.
Absolutely
I have heard it is basically Star Wars, a D&D party.
More or less, to be honest.
Yeah, pretty much. They're flying around in a ship, they're solving problems, and they're being a bit
It's a really fun show, and it's getting...
I've heard nothing but good things
better.
about it. I've heard nothing but good things about it.
It's going from strength to strength, and they're doing some really good things. They're bringing... Admiral Thrawn is now in the canon. They've moved him from where Episode 7 is now, and they've brought him forwards to...
They've moved him from what's known as Legends continuity.
Yes.
And now...
So that's the Rebel pack. Some Scum things. We've got a Jawa, and that's an absolutely brilliant miniature. I might get one just to paint up because it's fantastic.
Oh, that's cool.
And then what's really nice to see, they're bringing in stuff from the comics now. 2 really loved characters from the comics. This is BT1 and 000. I'm pretty sure that's how you say it. It's how I said it when I was reading the books. So these are basically chaotic, evil C-3PO and R2-D2.
That's amazing.
They're fantastic characters. All they want to do is kill people. And it's fantastic. To see them coming into this game just means that they're going to pop up over other places. I know that I read the X-Wing forums quite a lot on Fantasy Flight's website, and I know that a lot of people are asking for these 2 guys as crew for Scum. And actually, the
fact they've released it for Imperial Assault is probably a good indication that they're not only going, we know about this.
Well, these were the droids from a secondary character from the main comic line, the Darth Vader comic line.
Okay, yeah.
And that character is now so popular that they've given her own comic, which is absolutely fantastic to see. People's response to those new characters that they're bringing in, and to see them popping up in things like this is absolutely great. There's a big rumor or ask for her to be in the next wave of X-Wing, or her ship to be, if not the next wave, in a
future wave.
In a future wave, and I think that is going to happen. Because it's a canon ship that we've got pictures of, so actually that makes sense. But no, that's Imperial Assault, I suppose we can really say on that.
Yeah.
The next game we're going to talk about
is one that probably not a lot of people will have heard of, but it's really jumped up in my kind of estimations. As I said, I like a lot of miniatures games. I like them. I might not get to play a lot of them, but I like looking at them. Sometimes I just find rules a bit complicated. Sometimes I just want a quick, easy, simple game.
That's where I stand on that, actually.
That's not to say I will not play Battlefleet Gothic should the option ever arise, because I really like the idea of it. I'm just like, oh, okay, that rule. And one of the things occasionally about Attack Wing, it's like, oh, that rule. It's can we? What do we? Yeah, it's sometimes it's a bit of a pain.
Yeah.
So, what I have found, I was linked to this by a friend, and I really love it. There's a company that makes scenery called gaming scenery called TT Combat. They make some really nice kind of MDF houses and scenery for your board. A lot of Infinity and Batman miniatures game uses it and stuff like that. But what they've released in the last year was a little spaceship game called Space Swarm.
That's where that comes from.
Yeah, if you're wondering what our theme song is all about, it was written by...
Shall I just put it in here, in the podcast?
Yeah, just put it in here.
So yeah, that's the piece of music I wrote.
Yeah, Sam wrote, very talented man. He wrote what is now our become our theme song and our little incidental thing as our idea, Space Swarm as an 80s cartoon.
Yeah, so the idea was talk about the factions because this is where it came from.
Right, okay. So Space Swarm is a very simple game. You have the base game gives you 2 factions, gives you 12 ships each faction. It gives you the Alliance and it gives you the Swarm.
Very generically named.
Very generically
things.
named. Yes.
The Alliance are the good guys, they're the
They basically the ships look a bit like kind of Imperial ships in 40k, kind of pseudo Space Marine stuff.
And the Swarm are just aliens that want to kill them.
Yeah.
And
sorry, Tyranids, Space Marines.
And that's where we kind of got the idea that this is a kind of a
generic 80s cartoon.
Generic 80s cartoon, yeah. Saturday morning
enough
kids' TV that was used to sell toys.
enough about our vanity projects. No, Space Swarm is really simple. I mean, for me, one of the biggest selling things is 20 in a box. You get 24 ships, little MDF thing. I mean, they're only about an inch or 2 long, maybe. You get asteroid scenery. You get faction scenery like space station kind of stuff. You get a range/movement ruler. You get 6 dice. You get turning widgets. You get attack damage counters. You get turn counters, and it's $7.95 for the entire box, like the kind of original core set. I think that's great. It's really cheap. Of course, it is MDF. The miniatures look all right, you know.
It's a good game.
And it's simple. I mean, the rulebook is... I mean, it's like 4 pages of A4 paper that I've just been... Is it A5? Yeah, kind of A4 horizontally. I'm forgetting how to word today.
It uses a range ruler, right?
It does use a range ruler as that comes with the game.
Yeah.
But on one side of the ruler it's straight, which is used to measure range. On the other side, it's segmented because the miniatures are put on square bases, but they're put at an angle, so it's almost like a diamond shape. And you've got every movement value, you just move it up the little notches on the movement ruler. I think that's a really nice, simple.
Yeah, the whole thing was just really nicely done, and it was kind of. I suppose it was kind of the company just thinking, we've got this money, and we can put this out because it's going to be cheap, so we might as well just give it a go.
So
and because they do MDF terrain, so they've got the technology to put that together, and I think actually it's really nice for £8. It's basically just the lightest
space combat game you can get. I mean, it is quite simple. As I said, it's like the rules could fill up maybe an A4, 2 A4 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Just one side. So that's quite simple. Is you roll the stats of the ships, you roll how many attack dice you have, the opponent has to beat them.
And it's all D6s.
And it's all D6, yeah. The most you'll be rolling right now is 3D6 maximum.
It's fantastic.
Simple.
And there's an expansion.
There is an expansion, which makes me so damn happy. Every faction has a faction-specific rule, basically. Kind of bends their own rules. So for the Alliance, they can re-roll attack dice of 1. So 1s are automatic misses, 6 are automatic hits. They can re-roll 1s, which is quite handy. The Swarm has, whenever you destroy a ship,
so
roll a dice. It is kind of OP, but yeah.
Carry on.
When you destroy a Swarm ship, you roll a dice. On a 4-up, it gets redeployed at the end of the turn.
50% chance of your ships don't die.
Yeah. Well,
when we played the game...
No, they'll die. And they did say... they have said in the rulebook the aim of the game is to get like 15... generally is to get X amount of points. And you'd still get the points for killing them.
Yeah.
But the ship would come back. And I think...
But as the Alliance, my guys aren't coming back.
No, they aren't coming back. But then again, you get to reroll attack dice of 1. And I've had games where I've rolled 3 1s at first and gone... Oh,
yeah,
bugger.
I still think it should be 5-ups.
5-up. I think 5-up might be better. But again, that's quite simple, and I kind of like that theming. It's just the re-rolling 1s is nice, so it's like that extra training you guys have. Again, it's the generic kind of. You could assume they're humans, and the Swarm has that never-ending. They're always coming. They're always coming. But
they're a swarm. Yeah,
they're a swarm.
Right, yeah.
And also, but then the expansion pack brings in 2 new races.
With the expansion pack, just as an aside,
yes.
Can you just buy that as a core set?
No,
you do have to have the first one first.
You do need although you theoretically you could, because you don't get any scenery with it. You don't get any dice with it. You get 24 new ships and some faction scenery, and a little turning widget, which is kind of fine. But yeah, another range ruler. But you don't get. But the rules are available online, so I would recommend getting both because it's not expensive. The main core set is $7.95. The expansion set, First Contact, is $5.95. It's not gonna put a massive dent in your wallet. The First Contact expansion gives you 2 new factions, which are the Wardens and the Republic with a K. Yeah. Now the Warden's special ability as a faction is they can basically phase through terrain. So if you ran into another ship or a piece of scenery, you can't attack, you can't do any actions, and you basically have to move to get out of the way. So it's kind of tying up. These guys, if the movement allows them, they can just go straight through the terrain, which I think is quite good. I haven't seen it used very well yet, but that's mainly because a lot of the scenery is quite big, so it might just be kind of clipping bits, so you can just phase through parts of it, which is quite nice. The other one, the Republic with a K, they are rammers, and their ships look like it. They've got massive kind of bulldozer blades at the front, and they don't lose their actions for ramming other ships, which is very handy because both ships will lose their actions. Mm-hmm. So as well as this, though, as I said, there's 12 ships in each faction. Sorry, 1 second. 12 ships in each faction. You get frigates, which are the very small ones, but they've got the highest number of defense dice. Cruisers, which are very in the middle, and at the very end you've got battleships. Highest firepower, lowest defense, highest hull. Yep. But every battleship also has its own special ability, special action kind of thing. So the Alliance battleship has an unlimited range. Now, that does sound OP, but... So you have to pick a ship that's in line of sight, and outside your range. And then you can make a 2d6 dice attack against it. And that could be quite dangerous. And especially quite handy against the swarm who are continually coming back. If you set up yourself in a good firing position, yes, you always have to move in this game, but if you set yourself in a good firing position, all ships have a 180-degree firing arc as well, that you can wreck stuff. And then on top of that, if there's a ship in range in line of sight, you have a 3d6 attack against them, which is quite good. The swarm has the ability to launch fighters, basically, which have very small ships. They're quite fast. They've got 1 attack, 1 defense, and 1 hull. You can knock them out, but they can be nippy little buggers and tie you up. Now, other ships on the board. The Wardens have a graviton generator. Now, if you're using the Wardens, if you use this, you pick a ship within range, of course in line of sight. They have to move in the direction you choose, using their full movement value. Now, theoretically, you can fire your battleship up as fast as you can, hopefully not taking as much damage as you want, hopefully. Ship you can see in range and just force it into a rock, or just force it off the side of the board. You can do that. Is it a bit overpowered? Possibly. But at the same time, it's going to leave itself quite open, as things always will.
Yeah.
And the last one is the Republic has a flat cannon. Flat cannon, pick a ship at short range. There's either short range, long range, or out of range. Just pick a ship at short range, make a 2d6 attack against it. If you've just rammed that ship, you make a 3d6 attack against them.
And there's no defense dice in this game, are there?
There are defense dice,
there
yes.
are. Sorry.
Yes, no, you roll the attack, you have roll attack dice, and then you roll defense dice.
Mm-hmm.
So nice and simple.
It's really nice and simple, and from what I've played of it, it's really nice. You get 12 ships of each faction. How many ships are in a game usually?
Depends. Ships are usually 1 point for frigates, 2 points for cruisers, 3 points for battleships.
And you play how many points?
If I'm demoing with someone, I'd play about 10 points. I usually do basically three frigates, 2 cruisers, 1 battleship, just to show you a kind of small one. And it usually is...
Is there a recommended point?
Yeah, I think usually they suggest kind of playing with everyone. Okay. Because it's to get to 15 points.
Okay. Cool.
But 10 points is fine. And if you're showing someone how to play it.
Well, what we played was really nice. And so those 2 sets together come to just under £17.
Yeah.
Which I think value for money, you're getting a really good game.
Under £15, actually.
Is it? Holy crap.
$7.95 round it up to 8. $5.95 round it up to 6. It's £14.
Oh, jeez, it is. I typed in something wrong there. There you go. £14 for a great game. TT Combat, go and get it. You can only buy it online.
Yeah, but I will sing its praises for quite a while. So
it's really good fun.
Yeah.
To be honest, it's nothing serious. It's nothing over the top. It's just let's just have a little tiny space game. Mm-hmm. It's made of MDF. It smells amazing.
Give it a little lick of paint. It'll look nice.
If I ever get it, my idea was to do just the washes.
Yeah.
So don't necessarily paint them, just dye the wood.
Okay, yeah,
colours.
I get that.
So they still look like wood, but the swarm would be like a bright green wood, and the Orions would be like a nice blue wood.
Yeah, I think if I'm doing that, I'd give them blue and then kind of dry brush a little bit, metallic grey on it, just to give that kind of gunmetal look
nice.
to it. Yeah, I always imagine the Republic with a K being kind of dark red.
But that's all we've really got on miniatures today. So we're going to go into Pandemic, because we've got something. We haven't really got a joke today, but it's still equally hilarious.
Okay, let's do it.
So I'm sorry, I think I spoke too early. You have got a joke.
I actually have got a joke.
We'll end on the witty one-liner.
Okay, yeah.
But I want to talk about...
It's not a witty... It's not...
Okay, anyway, so the thing... It's not a joke, but it really is. It's just hilarious. I'm sure a lot of people have heard about it. It falls into our miniatures thing that we've been talking about all day today.
It's been blowing up around, especially on miniatures gamers over the past week or two.
And that's Peter.
And Games Workshop.
And they've sent... So, Peter...
People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals.
They sent an open letter to Games Workshop saying, please remove fur from your Warhammer figures, because fur has no place in 2017, so why should it have a place in the year 40,000?
41st millennium. Yeah, I understand. You know what? I love animals. I'm an animal lover, but I occasionally think Peter goes too far. I think they're a bit reactionary and looking for.
No, and I do think this is absolutely hilarious. I mean,
Yeah.
it's plastic.
Uh-huh.
Please shut up.
It's a plastic game. It's a plastic game that's been going on for quite a while now, so I don't think it really needed. It didn't need to come out of this. Also, if you want to get if you really want to get picky about this, the main thing they took from was the Space Wolves, Space Wolves wearing wolf skins as part of their armor. And if you know the lore, there's a saying that's attributed the Space Wolves say, which is there are no wolves on Fenris, which is the planet Space Wolves are from, which is true because all the Fenrisian wolves are humans who who failed the genetic changing process into Space Marines. They're injected with a gene seed called the Canis Helix, and it basically warped them and turned them into giant wolves. Whereas the ones that succeeded the gene therapy became Space Marines, Space Wolves.
Yeah.
So theoretically, they are not skinning wolves; they are skinning human wolf hybrids.
So we're not wearing animal fur; we're wearing human fur.
Theoretically, no. But also they don't talk, and people going, well, what about the flayed ones, the Necrons, that flay the skin from still living victims with blades on their fingers and stuff. If I'm wrong, if something has changed recently, please let me know. But this
is what we mean. We're not really qualified to talk about.
Yeah, that's why I said we're not qualified. I know bits and pieces. But yeah, that's what some people in lore have kind of argued. Yeah. But after a lot of silence, a lot of brouhaha, GW has replied
in a great way.
Do you want to read this?
You be my guest.
Sorry, dramatic. Do you want me to be a dramatic reading?
Yes. We might even bed it with some music.
That
could be
no.
Quite cool.
Right, we might. Okay, if this, I don't know. We might stick some music under this. So here we go. This is from. They did it on the Regimental Standard, which is required weekly reading for the modern guardsman. I do like what they do.
So
here.
Give us a good. You're a Space Marine captain. No, you're Space Wolves captain.
Oh, it's not. No, it's not just a Space Wolf captain. It's an imperial officer, almost a commissar.
I haven't read it.
Here we go. Attention, guardsmen. It has come to our attention that the more unscrupulous of you have been using the pelts, hides, and even skins of fallen Xenos beasts to supplement the warmth afforded by your combat fatigues. This is unacceptable. Note, this should be taken as figurative warmth only. Nearly all Munitorium-approved uniforms are temperate of climates. Some may question why such restraint is required, but it is our conduct on the battlefield and our ability to maintain valorous composure even in the most horrendous of circumstances that separates us from the filthy orcs, the wretched Eldar, and the foul forces of the arch-enemy. But let us not forget, this is the 41st millennium. We are beset on all sides by the mutant, the heretic, and worse. War is all the galaxy has to offer us. In the pursuit of victory and survival, and in the name of the Holy Emperor of mankind, you will, of course, be required to engage in deadly combat with terrifying foes that may well be trying to flay you alive, but that's no excuse to stoop to their level. When engaging such foes, you are permitted to undertake the following actions. Shoot the foe. This is not limited to a single las blast or round. You may continue shooting the foe until long after he has fallen, blasting apart his body until nothing remains to threaten the sanctity of the Imperium. Cut the foe. This can take the form of a stabbing or slashing motion. You may use knives, swords, or other implements to remove limbs and maim. You may even impale the foe's body on a polearm as a warning to others of the fate that awaits them should they stray from the Emperor's path. Crush the foe. Whether under the iron might of a Lehman Russ battle tank, or the bludgeoning blows of a rock, you may mash the foe's bones and beat him to a bloody pulp. What you may not do is wear any part of the foe. Not even if they are vicious clawed fiends, deadly chimerae, or vicious squigs. An early draft of this week's informational was circulated among the officers. As is encouraged, untrue, questions are to be discouraged, one of them raised a good question. Captain, former rank, the dead have no rank, Diceman wondered if perhaps we were being too stringent. Couldn't we allow troopers to remove pelts from dead enemy warriors? These hides have already been These hides had already been taken and defiled. What further harm could we cause? We assure you that, despite what may look like clear evidence to the contrary, further harm can be done by draping yourself in such skins. Others may even mistake your decision as disregarding the uniform policy, seeing it as some sort of fashion choice, rather than a simple need for survival. Or worse, you may be mistaken for a foully not beast yourself. To make certain this rule is followed, you are to strip dead of enemies of any pelt and put them to the flame. In summary, violence is necessary in war, but better to die of the cold than soil your soul by embracing the corrupt or the alien. Thought for today. Be sound of mind, or your argument is lost before it has begun.
Which is absolutely fantastic.
Well, I have to say, well played, GW. Well played.
That ends our show on miniatures.
I've got a joke.
Oh, geez. Yes, please, go for it.
It's not a very good one.
But they're the better ones.
Why don't board gamers like eating their vegetables, Sam?
I don't know, Jamie. Why don't board gamers like eating their vegetables?
Because they're worth a lot more as victory points.
Okay.
I really need to get better jokes.
I'm sorry, that was awful. Did you come up with that?
No, I didn't.
Good man.
I can try another one.
I take it that's like a reference to a game that we haven't really played.
I'm guessing it's probably an Agricola reference.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay, then. How did the Dominion player cross the road?
I don't know.
It was a quick shuffle.
It's good. There we go.
There we go.
See you later, everyone.
Take care, everyone.
Oh, plugs for
Yes.
sites and things. Go, quick. You can, if you agree with us, if you want to say anything, or if you think what we're talking is absolute bollocks, please send us an email to meeplepeople.podcast@gmail.com. You can get in touch with us on Facebook at the Meeple People Podcast. You can listen to this, you're probably listening to this on either YouTube at Meeple People Podcast or on SoundCloud at Meeple People Podcast. Send us games.
Send us ideas, send us questions, send us things you want us to talk about.
We live stream these now every time. You probably won't get much notice, maybe a day's notice on when we're going to live stream it. We'll try and be better at that. We're trying to hit as close to 2 weeks as possible.
But we do the best we can.
But come and join in, have fun, ask questions.
Yeah, because we want everything to grow. We want you guys involved. We're doing this just because we're having a good time. We want you guys to enjoy it as well.
Yeah, I'm still Sam.
And I will continue to be Jamie, apparently.
See you soon.
Take care, guys. But no.